Hi, my name is Donna Sellinger. I am one of the charge nurses on 5A at the Regina General. One of our obstacles that we were going to address was the inconsistency of patient rounding by the physicians. We felt that, or we know that it is less than 100%. So we set up some standards of care. We have a proposal for, and I mean there is I guess it's, the physicians are to be there on a daily basis. So that is already in our QHR policy. But the standards of care have been set up so that both the physician, the nursing staff, the primary care nurse, as well as the patient and family are all involved in their care at any given time on every round. So all of the discussion will take place in the room with the patient and family if available. That way patients can direct their care if they so wish, as well as family can direct them and ask any appropriate questions at that time. We also have whiteboards in each room, which someone else will speak to. These will also be updated at that particular time of the rounding. And then we have, as I said, done these standard hours. We have some orientation that will need to be done. We have a fairly large number of staffing on our ward, so the orientation process will begin shortly and get through to all of the staff to be aware.
Thank you. I'm Marv Dunbar. I have been a patient, and so it's been my privilege to take part in this. And the part that I am presenting today has to do with the whiteboards, which weren't being used, and there was some problems with the configuration of them too, as far as from the patient perspective. We got that. We had a good look at that form, and we were having lots of good ideas as to how we could improve it to make it more for the patient. And so we have the standard work thing has been prepared so that this is now going to be done that way. The patients were consulted on it, and they're quite interested because the detail is there for them, but it's for everybody else on staff too. And this is the post-Kaiser, I haven't got that right, but you'll see that the patient's care is at the top, and then the discharge planning is last, which is the way it should come. And so I have really appreciated being part of this process. And I'll hand it off now to Mark.
Hi, I'm Mark Wyatt, and one of the things we did at the beginning of our week was look at all the waste that we could find around us on 5A on the neurosciences floor. And we were able to fill in all of the spokes of the waste wheel, and it's winter, lots of ice, but the waste was getting a lot of traction all the same. During the course of the week, we managed to eliminate most of the waste. There were a few that we determined were out of scope for our project, but otherwise we ended the week with 2 things left out of, where did we start? We started with about 28 wastes, and we eliminated or determined 26 were out of scope. One of the projects we took on during the week was dealing with this file drawer where all of the files and forms are kept for nurses working with stroke patients. It may look harmless, but it's not. As we went through it, there were 47 forms in 38 different folders. Some of the folders were empty. They had no forms. If you wanted to find it, I don't know, you weren't going to get it there. In some cases, you had duplicate forms in multiple different files within the drawer. You had unused forms in there. You had some where there were different versions, half of which were out of date. We had one that was great. It had a former patient's name on the back of the file, which I'm sure that patient would be thrilled to know that their legacy lived on in the back of one of their files. And the other thing about that is there was a whole bunch of crap just stuffed in the front. So if you wanted to pull a folder out or a file out, because the files were all pushed into the back of the drawer, it was a bit of an effort. So we went through Oh yeah, we did our evaluation. We got a 1 out of 5 in terms of where we were with the 5S project. This was the inventory we took. We went through and we worked with Donna, some of the other nurses, figured out what is it that we actually need in here, how many of them do we need, and how does it align with the other place where some of these same forms were kept. We filled a couple of bins full of recycling. And this is the end product that we came up with. We reduced the number of forms in there from 47 down to 27. We added the number on each of the folders. We put how many of that form should be within the folder, established a standard process for who's going to replenish it, how often, when are they going to do it, and the system to replace it. We did our 5S evaluation at the end of the week, and we got from a 1 to a 3. So there you go, and back over to Derek.
Thanks, Mark. So finally, we're just going to show a few more sort of results from what we've done. This is a standard work combination sheet, just illustrating actually the flow of information, the targeted date of discharge, when it's entered. You'll note that there's little bursts of activity. That's the sort of passing on of the electronic information, and at least in a sense of an electronic information flow, we have a lot of waiting periods here. That's the patient waiting in ER to get up to 5A. It's also the rounding. You wait a day before you get updated information. So that's what that looks like. This is the post-Kaizen, and of course all we did was take out that little bit for innovation, but I explained the impact of that before. Here is the graph of the Kaizen event week defects. We did make quite a few improvements, and those actually land on those areas with the flow of the information. Where we didn't realize any improvements at this point in time is where the PPO still wasn't used because we haven't really implemented a new one yet. So we still had 100% defects there. We still weren't getting targeted date of discharge on there because we are landing on something that's actually acceptable with the neurologists and has some evidence-based decisions behind it. And finally, the other 100% graph there is that the whiteboards were still not used. We just trialed it the day that we finished yesterday. Here's the spaghetti diagram of the information flow. The only thing to note here is that they're all green except for one is orange. That means that electronic monitor isn't working. When we started this, we had 3 to 4 of them either not working or just not even turned on because people weren't paying attention to that information. On our newspaper, we have just a couple of items left over that we need to clean up. One is a multi-skill tasking checklist we need to complete for all the procedures that we've done. We also need to get our PPO approved through the proper channels before it's implemented. And finally, the whiteboards need to be updated.
So our target progress and results sheet, just to continue on and using this document as a means of showing what we were able to accomplish during our RPIW with all of the measures that we were tracking. We made significant improvements in most instances. Derek has pointed out that there are a few instances where we are not showing improvement, but they're waiting for subsequent approval for introduction of new forms, etc. We had trouble initially understanding how we could do calculations for productivity gains and capacity improvements. We did solve the capacity improvement equation and came up with a 55% improvement in physician capacity using the new PPO. So to summarize our workshop, significant improvements that have been realized as a result of our work. We established standardized targeted date of discharge as a foundation for care planning and with a focus on predictable discharge dates for ischemic stroke patients. We improved the quality and timeliness of patient information and engagement in care and discharge planning through introduction or improving the rounding and introducing the patient whiteboards. We improved quality and ease of use of stroke PDDs, PPOs, and reduced physician travel by 24 steps in the eMERGE, established standard work for physicians regarding consistent use of PPOs, eliminated inventory of PPOs on 5A, and reduced the inventory of stroke bundles by 54% and eliminated the requirement to enter TDD and innovation. I want to close by thanking the many people who were involved in supporting our work. Special mention to Marvin Dunbar, our patient representative, who traveled in from out of town, stayed with us 100% of the time, and kept us focused on the patient's perspective. Thank you very much for that, Marvin. I also want to just take a moment to thank Kathy Callis, Taryn Lorenz for the support and the coaching that they gave us. Kara Benz-Taylor, the unit manager, I think is in the room, and I want to thank you for giving us access to your staff, your patients, and for your advice, and for the many others in these various support areas of the region who assisted us. Thank you.